Hey man, how's it going? I'm doing fine. Thanks for coming on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Vin's computer crashed. He should be here now, I think. That's wonderful. Yeah. Oh. That's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, I learned my lesson once. Now I just save everything on OneDrive or Dropbox, or that's whatever. It's everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, I learned my lesson once. Now I just save everything on OneDrive or Dropbox, or that's whatever. It's everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, I learned my lesson once. Now I just save everything on OneDrive or Dropbox, or that's. Yeah, it looks like it's working now. Okay, I'll get her started. If I remember how to do this. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to SEO UnMasked, episode number 77. If I remember today is November 7th, 2019. Thanks for tuning in over the lunch hour. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to SEO UnMasked, episode number 77. So thanks for joining. Today is November 7th, 2019. Thanks for tuning in over the lunch hour. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to SEO UnMasked, episode number 77. So thanks for joining. Today is November 7th, 2019. Thanks for tuning in over the lunch hour. All right, hello everyone. Abbott says she can't even hear us, so what's wrong now? Abbott says she can't even hear us, so yeah, just a second here. It wants to take the audio from the actual YouTube thing that I have up instead of crap. So settings. So the way I had it last time, I have you guys in my headphones so I can hear you, and it's supposed to take the volume from my headphones. I know.
Meeting last week, and it was a pretty important one, and they invited me into Zoom, and I was into their conference room with all of their executives, and it completely crashed my entire computer, similar to what Skype just did. So that was fun, and I had to run and get my laptop up on as fast as possible.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Abbott said he can hear us now. Okay, so we.
Yeah, I think I got it. If I can get Skype here to cooperate a little bit, so everybody doesn't have to look at all my junk.
Yeah, Brendan. So now that we have audio, why don't you let us know a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, and maybe some background about you and SEO.
Yeah. So without going into the super long story, I was a teacher because we let 18-year-olds decide what they want to do with their lives. I was at college at 18 at Ithaca College in upstate New York, and I was just like, yeah, I guess I'll be a teacher. And then that was the decision that charted everything. Built some like little websites on the side and just kept trying to follow that teacher career path, and it didn't pan out. I was kind of left with just a really, to be transparent, like a really bad relationship with alcohol, a bunch of extra weight, a ton of anxiety and panic attacks. And I was like, this can't be my life. This can't be the thing. So slowly, like just over time, over the course of like 4 or 5 years, built a couple little websites, sold them, started taking on SEO clients, and then my friend was like, "Why don't you just go work at an agency?" And like for a lot of people that makes sense, but I had never considered that because I came up in like the online marketing world where it was like you have a day job, you're supposed to hate it, then you quit it, and you have this life of freedom. And I thought that was my path. And then I realized like you can do both. Like I'm the SEO director right now at an agency in Chicago called Click Studios, and I freaking love it there. But I also do a bunch of my own stuff. I have my own like kind of small affiliate websites. I do my own like consulting outside of work, and I launched a project this year called 100 Days of SEO, where due to my frustration with the like resources that are out there around SEO, I didn't feel like a lot of them were very good. You know who I'm talking about if you
Yeah.
YouTube anything related to SEO. And I was like, well, I got to make my own stuff. So started making videos and kind of had the goal of I was going to do it in 20 weeks. Just every weekday, produce a blog post, a podcast, and a video on an SEO topic. Turns out that's horrifically difficult. So that timeline got dropped right away, but I'm about at 50. So I'm about halfway through the 100 days of SEO. I would love to get finished by the end of 2019. I'm not sure if that'll happen, but yeah, I mean, that's really my project right now is just to use everything I learned as 10 years as an educator to teach SEO to people who have questions about it. 'Cause there's a lot of people that still do.
Cool, man. That sounds like a great journey there, and that's actually very similar to my upbringing in the industry. I did the same thing. Had a day job in finance, hated that shit. Started my affiliate sites, and I had some good success there. And instead of going to work for the agency, I started the agency. So we do the content creation over here. But I still get to travel. I still get to hang out in my home office and enjoy all that freedom that is pushed by the online marketing gurus. But it was a lot harder to get there than what they let on, for sure. So,
100%.
but I certainly appreciate what you're doing by offering some transparent SEO information rather than the hyped up stuff. You know,
Right?
that's definitely stuff that the industry needs. So definitely keep going with that.
Cool, man. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. I think the thing is with, to be honest, like that was my path too. I was like, all right, I had a couple SEO clients where a lot of people start, where I was a teacher, so I was making like $0.
Yeah.
And when you get that first like $500 a month SEO client, you're like, my whole life is changed. It was insane money. My wife was like, wait, they're gonna pay you 500? Like that's more. Like that's so much money. And I was like, yeah, but there's people that pay $10,000 a month. And we were like, what? We just couldn't believe it, and that's really where I started. And I was like, I'm gonna have my own agency. And then, politics aside, it freaked me out that insurance and healthcare could change every 4 years. Like if you get a new president or Congress changes, like whatever way you feel, it can change every 4 years. And I was like, I can't do that to my family.
Right.
So I was like, well, why don't we bridge, like, so I can figure it out more. I can take time, do really good work. And, I don't know if I'll stay at an agency forever or I'll go. This is part of being a part of like traffic think tank and stuff, like getting exposed to this idea of career and all these other opportunities. Yeah, I don't know what the path's going to be forward, but in the meantime, I'm just going to keep making stuff.
Well, I'll tell you my experience, man. Every time I feel like the shit's about to hit the fan, it's always like 5 days later that I get like a big win. So there's always opportunities around the corner. Just don't get scared. Just keep your head down and keep on doing it. And if you could stay away from that fear factor, you always find an opportunity to keep you going.
The scariest, most stressful months I've ever had, the months where I feel like the biggest loser and nothing is working. By the end of the month, when I look back, I'm like, Yeah, that was the most money I've ever made. And like money doesn't make me happy, but it is like, oh, that's
Yeah,
I forgot I was so stressed out. But it's like I guess everything's fine. Like I guess it's okay.
It's just a different thing, you know. Where everybody's so used to getting the paycheck from the big boss every Friday, and when you realize that maybe you just get a big check every 3 months, and then there's a gap in between. As long as you can manage that money fine, you'll be okay. It's just a little different perspective.
It's a whole other show, right? How do I make
exactly. But speaking of Traffic Think Tank, we met there last year. I just got my ticket for this year's conference in May. It's going to be in Miami. We're actually going to be sponsors, so you're going to see a lot of word agents down there.
Oh, you're sponsoring it?
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to talk to you about that later, but we're definitely sponsoring.
Okay.
And it looks like Garrett has some news about a webinar you're doing.
Yeah, I just booked my flights and stuff in the hotel for the live event. And then, in the beginning of December, I'm doing a webinar on how to manage a link building agency. So that should help a lot of people, whether you're in-house and you need to do a lot of link building and you're struggling to manage it, or if you're currently a link building freelancer and you want to start scaling up. There's a lot of big jumps that I see a lot of people struggle with, because link building is certainly hard for a lot of people to begin with. And then going from maybe doing 20 links a month, or what if you're like us and all of a sudden you need to do 500-600 links a month just off natural outreach, and then if you're doing paid links on top of that, just managing everybody and putting systems into place that you're not going to kill yourself all of a sudden working 100 hours a week to fulfill. And hopefully it should give some good advice too, like I said, to people that are doing link building in-house for agencies or whatever that could use a little bit of help. But yeah, it should be exciting, and I
like the topic, man. I like it's similar to what I did with my deck this year. I was doing how to build and manage a team of freelance writers, and everybody was like, "Why would you give that information away?" Because most people aren't going to do it. And
that's a sad reality almost. Steve put pretty much our entire process on Builder Society Forum, 4 years ago now, and how many people do you think have read it and done nothing with it, or have read it and tried it and gave up, or you might see one or two people that actually would maybe become a competitor, and it's not really something to worry about.
Yeah, the number of clients you're going to get compared to the number of competitors you're going to create is vastly different.
Yeah.
And I even with your 100 days of SEO project, Brendan, people are going to see that as you're going to develop yourself as a thought leader, and then as soon as that happens, the clients flow. They certainly flow. So I see nothing wrong with giving away free information, simply because most people won't take action, just because maybe they don't have the time or it's too overwhelming to them. So then they come to you.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even get people to take action on stuff they pay to learn.
Right.
People consulting, like you consult with a client and then you're like, all right, hey, did you do any of that stuff we talked about? They're like, yeah, we're still working on it. And you're like, you paid for it. Like the free stuff, they value even less. So I remember Glenn Alsop, a while back, had this thing about how to start an SEO agency, and I didn't have any clients at that point, and he did like the standard internet marketing 3-video launch series, and I watched each of those 3 or 4 times, each of the videos, took a bunch of notes. Then I went I might have dug into his sitemap a little bit and found a couple videos that he hadn't pushed live, a couple webinars that he had done and just uploaded publicly, but you couldn't find the links unless you dug into the sitemap. And I watched those a bunch of times. And then I never bought it because I didn't have $1,000 for the course at the time. Like I said, I was a teacher. And then one day I emailed him. I'm like, hey man, I have 6 clients now, and it was all from the free stuff. I never bought your course. And he was like, yeah, can we get on a call right now? Because nobody does that.
That's great.
Nobody takes the free information, can't afford it, and then just does it. It was enough. You put out enough for me to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that speaks to your personality type, Brendan. And I think that if you're just naturally a go-getter and you just want to hustle and make bank and improve your life, you're going to do it whether if you have a course or not. But that course information is helpful, especially for those beginner personality types. But you're right. If you're the personality that you don't actually just want to put the pedal to the metal and do the work, it doesn't matter if people are giving away information because you're just not going to execute.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's jump into some of our news here for the week. It's been a while, but there's been a lot of updates. I think we had several core updates since the last time we were on, and BERT just got released, but we'll get to that. The first news item up today is a Twitter post by Better Be Humans, and it looks like
Be Better
he
Humans.
was Be Better Humans, and it looks like he was an affiliate for Ungagged, the conference that's happening in Vegas this week. But then he got a cease and desist letter for promoting them. So,
I think they're actually doing it in LA this year. I think.
Oh yeah, they're in LA. Actually, I just talked to Nick, and he's speaking there.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what's going on. I guess he was a pretty big affiliate pushing ticket sales, and I don't know the whole truth on it, but it seems like he sold a bunch of tickets, and they maybe don't want to pay him the affiliate income, and they're questioning where the ticket sales came from. But I mean, if they're legitimate purchases, why? I don't know what the issue is.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on Gag because they are a legit conference. But when this kind of stuff happens, it's either the affiliate is not giving, not being fully transparent about their practices, which might guess is what's going on here, or maybe the legal team over at Ungagged doesn't really understand what's allowed. And what's not
I mean,
allowed,
it's hard to say. I don't know who this guy is. Steve had found this tweet to begin with, so I don't know. And then,
there's also no comments on it or anything. So I would guess maybe this is operator error on behalf of the affiliate. But if it's true, I'm sure Ungag will get it figured out right quick. They take care of their guys.
Yeah.
So next up, we have a search engine roundtable article about some Google My Business local listing updates. I'm not in local. Have you guys seen any shakeup with the map hack or anything like that?
Go ahead if you.
I was just gonna say quick. I'm not in a lot of local stuff anymore. We just have the one local client, and I'm starting a huge nationwide lead gen thing with a buddy of mine, but it's way too early to actually. We don't have enough listings out there to see any shakeup.
Are you in local, Brendan?
Yeah, we have a bunch of local clients. I have like some that are consulting and some that are like through Click and stuff that are a little bit bigger. So how do I not be ranty about this? I can't handle this website because it's literally a dude taking other people's tweets and then writing 100-word articles about them.
Yeah.
It drives me freaking mad because you're reading it and it's like, now I got to go read where this actually came from. Like, there's no value here to me.
The comments in the tweets are always more helpful than the actual roundtable post, 100% of the time.
And I read these, like anything that has a link, like I'm like, forget it. But like in looking at it, like limiting the number of service areas a business can list, like that doesn't make any sense. Like if you're a business and you have 100 locations around the country, we a bunch of our clients have been that way. Like, what are they going? They're going to shut them down for being too successful. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. Like I haven't seen any issue with that. I don't like this whole says they recommend expanding the existing ones to cover larger areas. There's more than 20 cities in the U.S. So if you're U-Haul, what do you do? U-Haul can't use Google anymore. Like they're in every city. So it's things like that are just, McDonald's. McDonald's gets 20 service areas.
I think posts like this on Roundtable are just too quick to the punch because Google rolls out changes daily, and they're testing different, SERP features daily. So maybe they see it once and then kind of cause hysteria about it, but it's not refined yet. And just like you say that, U-Haul and McDonald's, there's got to be a function for multiple location companies And if it's not, if it's fucked up in the search, results right now, it's not going to be screwed up for very long.
I think
That's
the other part is they're talking about service areas, not like, so one business listing, like meaning like our local whatever can't, like a local, let's say one of our clients is a window washer and he has like 5 service areas in Chicago, right? But they're 5 separate locations. So each location can only have 20 service areas within it. As long as you have separate locations set up as separate business listings, you're fine. I can't think of a scenario where this actually, now that I'm like thinking it through, where this even actually applies, where you would have one business with one address saying it can serve 20 different locations. Like you should probably have a different address at that point, which is really not that hard.
Right.
So
Now you would have to operate out of probably a giant facility if you're servicing 25 plus locations. So yeah, you're right. So it's probably operator error where the local SEO optimization is not done correctly for their needs, rather than the map hack or Google My Business not working correctly.
right.
So I'm going to take you on a tangent here. So I just opened a restaurant this week, so I got to get going with all the local SEO stuff.
Love it.
And I got free access to a course called Rise Up Local. I think it's through a group that me and Garrett are in. I think maybe the SEO Signals group. But would you suggest another course for local stuff that's current for today, or where would you say I should go to get updated on GMB and citations and all the good local stuff that I need to know?
I mean, I feel like we luck out a little bit with our like local clients just because the basics that we all know kind of work.
Yeah.
Right. I like my workflow for local clients is like literally just make sure the Google business profile is set up in a way that makes sense. You really can't screw it up. Make sure the website has like the proper structured data and schema on it. I lean on Dave in Traffic Think Tank for some of that stuff because he's like the schema master. Then I work with Adam at Loganics with like some citation stuff, just because I don't know,
Right.
I met him at Traffic Think Tank and it seems to make sense and whatever. So we do citations, like an audit, and then the cleanup or whatever is recommended, and then from there we just build links to it. Like that work. It doesn't. It's not super complicated.
Yeah, I had a few local clients. It was mostly like friends and referrals, and they're like people that like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I know that you do this. Can you help me out? So I made the mistake of taking on clients when I didn't want clients. But that was pretty much my process too. Get the GMB going, make sure they're in maps, do citations. I've known Adam for years, and I always get my citations for him. And then I just built links to match the number of links that their competitors had. And that not even quality, just like pure number of links. And that was plenty, man. And for one dental client that I had, he was killing it for all of his location keywords, zip codes, all the surrounding locations, and his Yelp, the number of Yelp reviews and Google reviews he was getting was skyrocketing, and we could track ROI through CallRail because his calls went up big time too. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. I got to learn a little bit more about the schema for local, but other than that, it sounds like business as usual.
Yeah, it's not there's I haven't found anything. Now I'm not doing certain, like I'm not working in like a super competitive industry. I'm not like doing personal injury Chicago or anything, or medical stuff, but yeah, for most things like a restaurant and stuff, that seems like it would make sense. One of the projects I'm working on right now, my wife has had this idea of opening a coffee shop for a couple of years. And I've, of course, my like online business brain, like my immediate reaction was, no, that's a terrible idea. We're never doing that. Like the margins are awful. Why would we do that? We're going to spend all day and all night there. So I was like, well, why don't we just like ease into it? Why don't I start an affiliate site around coffee? We'll see if we can get traction for it. We'll learn the industry. Maybe we start our own brand. Maybe we get into drop shipping or white label or FBA or all these other things. But by the time it takes off, we've learned whether or not we want to be in this industry. we've learned all about it. We have money, like we have a little war chest if we wanted to open up a physical location. And then if we do end up opening like an actual coffee shop in our like town and area, like I have a great website that's already an authority in coffee. Like I can just add a location page to it, you know?
There you go. That's a smart idea.
So just taking it like step by step, but it's something I'm keeping an eye on too, because I want like, you know, in the next 5 to 10 years, like that's something I would love to have. You know what I mean?
Right.
Tell me about the restaurant.
So yeah, one of the biggest challenge for that site is going to be getting us ranked for the keyword best restaurant on Long Island. So on Long Island, we don't have big cities with lots of search volume. It's just like a lot of little neighborhoods, similar to like a big like Manhattan or Chicago. You've got just kind of little villages every 10 miles. So we really want to go after the Long Island terminology rather than our village, which is Lindenhurst. But from what I can tell, even the pages optimizing for best restaurant Long Island aren't ranking, and the pages that are ranking just seem to be ranking for no rhyme or reason.
I just Googled it. I mean, it's Newsday, TripAdvisor, OpenTable, Yelp, Zagat, Thrillist.
Again, it's the high domain authority sites.
But you do have a
it's all aggregators, right?
Yeah, you do have a map pack, which is interesting for that query. Lake House, Blackstone Steakhouse, Prime Steak and Sushi.
Which is funny because I know all of those people. I
spread out. I've seen some, like I looked up something in Philadelphia and it was like everything, like where Google thinks like Philadelphia was literally on, I don't know if it's Broad Street, the main like north-south street, but it was like everything west of it. And like nothing there's a whole half of the city to the east, but it didn't include any of that stuff in the map pack, even though that was like really close and much better. And it was just like, at least it seems like
I'm seeing exactly what you're describing right now. I'm going to share a screenshot in the chat here, and you can see the centroid pin, which is the purple pin for Long Island, and then all of the results are all to the left of it.
Yeah.
But Long
Here,
Island
I'll bring it.
Place.
I put it on the screen. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. You got one restaurant, Stone Creek Inn, way out there, and then everything is to the west.
And all the big cluster of restaurants and kind of like the bottom center there, that's all my town. So I don't know if it's all based on my current location from where I'm searching from. But if you're seeing the same thing, that means that it's.
I'm searching for Minnesota.
Yeah, you shouldn't see the same thing. So I wonder why that is. But
here, I just dropped a link in the chat too. Hopefully it comes through. This is the personal injury attorney Philadelphia, where this whole city, and for some reason it thinks like it's only this one little neighborhood, like to the west of the river.
Yeah.
To the west of Broad, rather. Not even because the river would be over in Jersey, but like it's so bizarre, like how much. And the same thing there. It's like, wait, why does Google think like this is where everything is?
So I guess it would just be a reverse engineer like type of thing. Just look at what they're doing and try to apply shit until it works for the business that you're trying to rank.
100%.
But it's so easy to rank for the location and the zip code and the general city that you're in. I can get on the first page and the top 5 for that, pretty much without thinking. But the juicy keyword is this best restaurant in Long Island keyword. And it's going to be interesting to see how I can pull that out of my ass. But we'll see. Anyway, let's jump back into news here. We've got another search engine roundtable article. It's about the service area stuff that we already covered.
Yeah.
So we're good there. And we can jump into our main topic, which is the most recent update, BERT. And this one is affecting apparently 10% of all searches and is focused on natural language processing. What do you guys think?
I mean, I tried writing an article. I started writing an article about AI and SEO and machine learning, and it quickly became an article about like the future of the whole planet, which was great. Like the rabbit hole you can go down is so deep, and you can see like in this article that Dawn wrote is, it's like, yeah, here's the update, but like here's what's happening.
Right.
And I ended up just stopping writing the article because it was just like so much was coming out, and I was having to go so deep and learn so much that it's like I don't. This is wild. I'd rather have somebody who's just an expert in this write it, and people who are experts are writing it. But yeah, I mean, as far as like this being an update, unless you were ranking for a bunch of stuff you shouldn't have, which probably wasn't converting for you anyways, this I don't know. I don't know. People are like, I see in a lot of like Slack groups and forums and stuff and Facebook groups, people are like, who got hit by the BERT update? And I'm like, I don't think people are really going to get hit by this too much because it should just be like clarity if it's working, right?
Mhm.
What do you think?
So I did see a indirect hit. So on one of my sites, we only have so many money pages ranking or so many traffic drivers.
Mhm.
Several of them we had snippets on, and we maintained the snippets, but our traffic dropped.
Mhm.
So that leads me to believe that it had something to do with the NLP, with people getting their answers met without actually having to click on my link. So I think it is a result of the BERT update, but more an indirect result, probably because the update had the intended consequences that Google wanted, but it affected the website's ranking for those terms negatively because they never got the clicks that they're shooting for.
Got it.
But for me, like you said, I too kind of went in on a deep dive into machine learning and AI and NLP. And what I learned is it's like a whole other world. Like, it took me 10 years to become an SEO expert. And I quickly learned if I was going to jump into this NLP stuff, it's a whole other world, and it's going to take another 5, 10 years to become the expert on it, with the differences between entities and knowledge graphs and vectors, and how different query classifications fit together, and how to optimize for that. It's too much to do both. So these days, I kind of rely on the tools, the correlational tools that are out there, like Surfer SEO, Page Optimizer Pro, Website Auditor, and I kind of rely on those guys to do the heavy lifting for me, and I'll just make my determinations based on the reports that they provide, for the keyword I'm trying to rank for. And for now, that's been enough. That in conjunction with structured markup schema, and just best practices for on-site optimization. That's really gets me 90% of the way there, and the rest is really just link building and building domain authority.
Yeah. There's this, I don't know, are either of you familiar? There's an author, his name's Blake Crouch.
No.
So I really like his books. They're very similar to like Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian, where it's just like he gets like obsessed with some science, and then it's like let's make a story about this. But they're like thrillers. So he's written about like multiple dimensions and like time travel and a bunch of different stuff. But he has this one. It's just a short story that came out recently that was all about like somehow there was a video game and like they had this like completely what's the word, like conscious AI that came out of the game. And there's sections where they're like training it and they're trying to figure out like what to train it with.
Mhm.
And it's just it gets it. I don't know. It's a very easily, because it's an entertaining story. It's an easy, digestible way of understanding like what we're talking about. Because it was like at one point they're talking to the AI, and they're like, "Wait, how many books have you read?" And it's like, "Oh, around like 400 million." They're like, "In the last 24 hours," and the AI is like, "No, that's like the last 60 minutes."
Holy
Just
shit.
like, just like, and that's not like that's obviously like scaled way up, but that is like what we're talking about with like training, machine learning, and things like that.
Yeah, the broad strokes are pretty easy to understand. It's an algorithm that you train, and then it basically trains itself after a while. That's like the TLDR version of it. But taking that understanding and applying it to SEO, and and how you can make optimizations that result in positive ranking improvements, there's a gap there, and I don't think any one SEO is going to be able to explain that or even prove that through case studies for quite some time. I think we still really do have to stick to correlational signals, meaning that just looking at what's ranking and taking your signals from that. And I feel it's going to be that way for quite some time. I don't think we're going to be able to have like best practices for NLP anytime soon to apply to an SEO use case, or just a broader marketing use case either. It's just, but it's good to start learning about it now. So once it becomes more defined, we'll have kind of an edge over the competition.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. I think the thing that'll change a lot will be content, right? Like where the arena that you play in a lot more too is like that low level of content that people are currently getting done on however they get it done, but it's really pretty bad, is going to get replaced by a machine learning platform or something like pretty quickly. I was talking to, I don't know how to say Kristen's last name. I don't know if it's Tinsky, but I believe it is, at Fractal, and we were just talking about that too, about just how easy it is to train up something that, like, she created a pretty much a bot that mimics our president extremely accurately, which is something to be said because it's a very unique tone and a very unique way of speaking and voice. But she created a bot that like holds party line and makes very few errors, and it was like, that's really interesting for me. Just because it's like, if you like, why would you pay somebody to write a guest post for you when you can just train something to, with all their guest posts they've ever written on a topic and all the interviews they've done, you can just have it spin out like a whole website that's all written, sounds just like them. So I don't know, it's stuff's like really interesting.
Yeah. And do you remember a Traffic Think Tank last year when, I don't know if it was Paul Shapiro or Brittany from Moz, she passed around the laptop, and it was some kind of machine learning where you entered a picture, you took like a screenshot, and it could tell you what was in the photo based on the picture itself. And that kind of blew my mind a little bit too. Like that's like Terminator level like scariness, but it was pretty cool. And I think that it's the whole world of AI and machine learning. It's still in such infancy that there's not too much tangible usage that we can get out of it yet. But I see it moving faster pretty much by the week at this point. And it's only a matter of time before something useful that we can use in our day-to-day operations comes out of it. And then the game's going to really change.
Yeah, it's getting pretty wild.
But I did add a link to Google's natural language API demo. And this is pretty neat. Let me post it in the chat here, which I think I lost. Basically what it is you can paste in your content into the demo, and then kind of get some signals based on how Google views this content. And you can pull the entities out, and you can also pull the categories out as far as how Google categorizes your content. So it kind of speaks to if you're on the right track with your optimization or not. Again, there's a lot more going on in the background with this technology, so it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. But again, it can just kind of give you some more insight into how you should be optimizing your content based on how Google's natural language algorithm is reading it. So I just pasted that in the chat if you guys want to take a look. But
cool.
Yeah, anyway, I think that's all the news we got for the week. Did we have anything else to cover?
I lost the link to the coupon thing, but it's gotten really popular to throw money pages up on subdomains of websites that are like super unrelated to what, like coupons, for example. A lot of big sites with a lot of authority all of a sudden doing coupons.huffingtonpost.com or coupons.whatever. And
Yeah.
there was a tweet from one of the guys at Bing that's in charge. Of course, I forgot his name now, but Bing is going to start actively dishing out manual penalties for subdomain abuse. So I thought that was kind of cool or interesting, whatever. But
Yeah.
That just sounds like parasite SEO back in the day. You just leverage the domain authority of any page you can create on another domain and point a link to your domain. Dynamic link injections, on government sites, like crazy shit that we used to do. There's still opportunities like that out there, but should you do them? Once the Bing or Google finds out about them, do you want to open yourself up to a future manual penalty just because it's working today, but it's not above board? I don't know. I don't typically do stuff like that anymore just to future-proof my sites because I don't want to deal with a penalty ever again.
right.
But if you're in the churn and burn game, maybe you're the black hat game, if you can find opportunities like that, go for it. Andrew says they're only dishing out their penalties if the subdomain is not easily accessible through the root. So if it's like
they're hiding it on purpose.
Like an orphan page that can't be accessed. So maybe you can get around it by making sure that you can get to your parasite page from the main root domain somehow and not kind of mask it. Then maybe you won't get a manual penalty. But for me, that would be a little still too risky for what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Cool, guys. So I think that's it. I mean, Brennan, you want to plug your business here real quick to our 7 viewers we got going on right now?
I'm into it, man. No, I mean, here's the thing, like, no business plug, but if you want to learn SEO and try to get better at it, like just on YouTube, you can look up my name, Brendan Hufford. You can spell it as bad as you want, not because I'm good at SEO, but just because nobody else has my name. It's awesome. That's like my joke with clients. Is I'm like, yeah, just Google me. Like, you can misspell it because I'm good at SEO, and I'm like, but I'm also not I'm not like Justin Jackson, right? I'm not like a very common first and last name. So yeah, just look up Brendan Hufford or look up 100 Days of SEO. If you prefer podcasts, you can look that up in your favorite podcast player. You find the podcast version. And yeah, just follow along there. You can also Google Brendan Hufford and just check out brendanhufford.com. I've got a bunch of articles on there, and you can sign up for the SEO for the Rest of Us newsletter.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I liked our conversation. So anytime you want to jump on and just shoot the shit, it's very casual, as you could tell. So, but we get great feedback. Usually, we get most of our viewers after the fact, and then we'll get like emails or new client requests. 3, 4, 5 months down the line, but it's all gravy,
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you guys. This is great.
Awesome. Guys.
Awesome.
So, Garrett, I guess you want to sign us off.
Yeah, all right. That's a wrap. Thanks for joining this week. We'll be back next week. Don't forget to smash that like button. Email Sassy Steve, even though he's not here, all of your SEO questions, so we have something to talk about once in a while. And then don't forget to share and subscribe and whatever else people do on YouTube, because I don't know. Yeah.
All right, guys. I will catch you next week.
All right. See you guys.
Cheers.
Take care.